Hello again, everybody. I'm Chris. I'm all set to count them down this week's 40 most played country songs of the week, as compiled by Mediabase 24/7 for the chart week of May 3rd, 2025. Before I get started counting down this week's biggest hits, let's take a look back at last week's top three. At number 3 was Forever to Me by Cole Swindell. Number 2 was I'm the Problem by Morgan Wallen. And the number 1 song last week was Friends Like That by John Morgan and Jason Aldean. Now, can J&J stay at number 1 for another week? Let's find out starting right now. We have one debut on the chart this week, and here it is at number 40. It's the second top 40 hit by Chase Matthew, called Darlin'. And with that one debut, we say goodbye to One Dropper, Falling Out, Life With You by Kelsey Hart. On with the countdown, up a notch to number 39. Here's Parmalee with Cowgirl. Holding at number 38 for the second week is Tucker Wetmore with his new one called 3, 2, 1. At number 37 again this week, here's Ernest with Would If I Could. Up 3 spots to 36, here's Jelly Roll with Heart of Stone. Up a notch to number 35, George Burge and It Won't Be Long. Holding at number 34 this week, Jordan Davis with Bar None. Up 2 spots to 33 is Dierks Bentley with She Hates Me. Up a notch to 32, it's Keith Urban with Straight Line. Up a notch to 31, it's Russell Dickerson with Happened to Me. In their 12th week in the countdown, they hold at number 30, Rascal Flatts and the Jonas Brothers with I Dare You. Up 2 spots to 29, here's Parker McCollum with What Kind of Man. Holding at number 28, Eric Church with Hands of Time. At number 27 again this week, Jackson Dean with Heavens to Betsy. Up 3 spots to number 26, Morgan Wallen with Just In Case. At number 25 again this week, here's Luke Bryan with Country Song Came On. Up 2 spots to 24, Shaboozey with Good News. At number 23 again this week, here's Thomas Rhett with After All the Bars Are Closed. At number 22, moving up to John Party with Friday Night Heartbreaker. At number 21 again this week, Carly Pearce with Truck on Fire. In his 15th week in the countdown, he spends another week at number 20, Nate Smith with Fix What You Didn't Break. At number 19 again this week, Sam Hunt with Country House. Parked at number 18, here's Tyler Hubbard and Park. At number 17, here's Corey Kent in This Heart. At number 16, Josh Ross with Single Again. In at number 15, Riley Green with Worst Way. Down 2 spots to 14, here's Drew Baldridge with Tough People. Up a notch to number 13, Old Dominion and Coming Home. The number 12 song up a notch this week, Ella Langley with Work for the Wind. In at number 11, it's Bailey Zimmerman with Holy Smokes. Alright, here's the first of the 10 biggest hits, Kane Brown holding at number 10 with Backseat Driver. Slipping 2 spots to number 9, the former number 1 hit from Jelly Roll called Liar. Inching up 1 to number 8, here's Megan Moroney with Am I OK? Here's last week's number 1, falling to number 7, the song that's been on the chart the longest at 40 weeks. John Morgan and Jason Aldean, Friends Like That. Here's a former number 1, slipping 2 spots from 4 to 6. Here's Low Cash with Hometown Home. Leaping 3 spots up to number 5 is Blake Shelton in Texas. The number 4 song this week, up 2 spots, Zach Top with I Never Lie. And at number 3, moving up 2 spots, Jason Aldean with Whiskey Drink. The number 2 song in the nation, once again, belongs to Morgan Wallen and I'm the Problem. And the new number 1 song in country music this week, taking 33 weeks to get here, and this becomes his 13th number 1 country hit. It's Cole Swindell and Forever to Me. And that is our countdown of the 40 most played country hits this week. Join me again next week. Once again, we'll count them down and find out who's got the number 1 song in North America.